Hello, everyone. Today I'm going to be reading the rules book, which was written by Ellen Fine and Sherry Schneider. And this time I'm going to start reading the rule number 3. The way I do this, I read a little bit of the chapter and then I talk about it. I just put my 2 cents into it. All right, let's start. Rule number 3. Don't stare at men or talk too much. Looking at someone first is a dead giveaway of interest. Let him look at you. If he doesn't notice you first, he's probably not interested. Keep walking, someone else will notice you. Did you know that there are workshops designed to teach women how to make eye contact with men they find attractive? Save your money, it is never necessary to make eye contact. What about letting men know that you're receptive? We suggest simply smiling at the room or the universe, if you will, and looking relaxed and approachable. That's how to acknowledge a man's attention, not by staring at him. Don't look anxiously around for the one. That is certain to make anyone look the other way. There's nothing attractive about anxiety. That's beautiful. I really like what the authors put into these sentences. First of all, let's just go from top to bottom of this. Looking at someone first is a dead giveaway of interest. Exactly. If you start staring at the guy you find attractive, he noticed you that you're staring at him. In that moment, when you clearly are staring at him because you find him attractive, he already knows he got you. In his mind, you are already like, that's it. He got you. And that's basically, it kills the chase for you in any way. Like, it kills the chase in a guy's mind. Like, he finds you already like 50% less attractive. Like, it might spike his interest for a little bit, but because you already showed him interest right from the start, he doesn't find you special in any way. Like, you think it's absurd. Like, how do you know that? That's how mind of man works. Like a guy wants the girl that is just over there talking to some girlfriends or like sitting and just like on her phone. She doesn't seem to notice him. That's the girl he's gonna walk over and approach and talk to and ask for a number and whatever. If he doesn't notice you first, he's probably not interested. Exactly. So men in general, they have like these radars. When you are his type and it's like a crowded place, let's say it's a club situation or a party, like a big event, and you think, oh, he didn't notice you because it's crowded, you have to like move closer to him for him to notice you. Like, no. If you are his type, like, he has noticed you like half a second before you entered the room. He already is like, there is a dream woman like walking into this room. Like I swear to God, you haven't even like observed the room one time, he already noticed you. So if he doesn't seem to notice you and doesn't approach you and you're about to be leaving, like, he doesn't care for you, you're not his type for whatever reason. Like, you might be attractive, but he doesn't find you attractive because you're just not his type. Anyway, move on. There's really no need to like hang around in the room and like try to be all by yourself and like look around and be smiling for him to like finally approach you. If you're his type and you're, I don't know, you're with some girls, you're having a good time, he'll find a way to approach you. Believe me, he will not let you leave this place without your name, without your number. Guaranteed not. Okay, also they say we suggest simply smiling at the room or the universe, if you will. It's not even needed to do that. I have the most terrible at all times, usually. Like, it's hard for me to be like smiley and approachable and just like, I'm just so like, oh, I'm just in such a good mood, like, please approach me. Like, I have a hard time doing that. So even with that face, as I think it's called resting face, men still approach me if they find me attractive, obviously. So yeah, they say also, don't look anxiously around for the one. When I read this sentence, I remember, like, it's been a while when I read the rules, but this sentence actually made me start observing girls at social gatherings. And I've noticed we actually all do that. Yeah, majority of the time. I've probably done it as well. Like just looking around for like people you find interesting or like men you find attractive. That is so unattractive. When I started observing other women doing that, I realized that really kills the attractiveness of that specific person. It's this like stare, like, oh, where do I find interesting guy here? So I stopped doing that, and it's hard for me to do because I like looking at people just because I'm just people oriented, I guess. Like I like looking at them. So when I'm out and about, I try to look at people that I'm with at that particular moment and not much around. It's hard to do for us women, to be honest. And yeah, let's continue reading that. On the first date, avoid staring romantically into his eyes. Otherwise, he will know that you're planning the honeymoon. Instead, look down at the table or your food, or simply survey the crowd at the restaurant. It's best to seem genuinely interested in life and others and your surroundings and the paintings on the wall, as opposed to this life prey. He will feel crowded and self conscious if you gaze at him too much. Restrain yourself, let him spend the evening trying to get your attention. I remember when I first tried to implement this, that I was doing it too harshly. So I was completely trying to avoid men's contact, eye contact. And it's not needed either way. Like, it's not needed to stare at him like this, or like romantically, or like this. And also, you don't need to avoid his eye contact if he's talking to you. Look at him. But then, it's really about the balance, the dynamics on a date. Also, because you're not trying to make conversation, it's on him, especially in the beginning. I always say, especially in the beginning, because in the beginning, you establish the dynamics of this relationship if it goes anywhere, anyhow. One of the hardest aspects of dating is figuring out what to say. Do you talk about the weather and politics? Should you be intellectual or girlish? If you're smart, you'll stay cool and just listen to what he says. Follow his lead. If he wants to talk about dance clubs, tell him which ones you've been to and which ones you like. We're not suggesting that you be an airhead. On the contrary, it's just that you're easy to be with. When appropriate, show him that you keep up with current events and have interests. Yeah, I mean, it sounds so like simple and maybe even boring, but dating somebody new in the beginning, the first bunch of dates, is not the place where you should be talking about your problems or talk about your past relationships and like work issues, money issues, anything like that. Honestly, even on the opposite side, if I were a man, I wouldn't want to hear it. Also, like sometimes even men break this rule and talk about their problems. This is basically for me an indication that the guy is not really interested in me, because if the guy is talking about his problems, he's not trying to impress you. For us, women, it's a little bit different. We think we bond over the problems because between us women, when we share our problems, we commiserate, we feel for each other, we try to help each other, be emotional support. Like for men, it's different. Like you have to wrap your head around that men bond over success, women bond over misery and misfortune. So it's really not a place for you to share your problems yet. Eventually, you will tell him everything he has to know about you. But in the beginning, it's really like you are like beautiful butterfly. You sit in front of him. You're a princess. That's all you need to think about yourself. That's all. Like, the only thing what I've done wrong in the beginning when I started implementing this rule is that I followed this too harshly. I remember I played way too dumb on dates because I thought if I say something like, oh, I have like, I don't know, I have a degree in this and that, and I have studied whatever degree and I'm educated or I'm well traveled, it will shy a guy away. And so I completely avoided talking about myself. Um, and also, that's not necessary. If he asks you a question, you can totally honestly answer it. Just don't overdo it beyond a point where you feel like, okay, now I'm talking and sharing too much of my life. Like, again, if it's a first date, like, all he has to know about you is how old you are, where you're from, if you have siblings, maybe, um, pets, what do you do for work. That's pretty much it is. Try to stay generally positive. Early dating is not the time to tell him about your job problems. In general, don't be too heavy, but don't be funny if he's serious. Just go with the flow. Okay, okay. One more thing about these few sentences is they don't say it here. Don't be too funny. They just say don't be funny if he's serious. But I just wanted to share or like say something about like being a funny girl. I'm actually one of the funny girls. I know it doesn't seem like it right now, but like when you know me a little bit more, I am the funny girl. I like to entertain people. However, I do restrain myself so hard not to be funny on a date. And sometimes it doesn't work. It doesn't work. And it doesn't work usually when I like the guy. So I have to pay attention to myself when I'm on a date with somebody I actually like and don't try to be too funny. Like you can be laughing at his jokes. I know it sounds like so 50s this advice, but like if you are on a date with somebody who's just more analytical and more straightforward and not very funny and you try to be funny, the dynamics will be super off. Like you can be funny later on. Like he will get to know you more and more down the line. But first date, like don't try to be funny. Just be pleasant. Be nice. Be cordial. Be grateful. I mean, he invited you on a date. He planned the date. He paid for the dinner, whatever, drinks, coffee, movies, I don't know, theater, whatever he took you. Uh, Say thank you, and that's all is needed from you. You don't need to be overly grateful. You don't need to thank him 10 times. Just say thank you. It was nice meeting you, or skip that too. Just say thank you. It was great time, and that's it. If he needs more than that, like if he needs to be gushing over him for doing that bare minimum, uh, that's not the guy you want to be dating. Needless to say, there will be moments on a date when neither of you has anything to say. Don't feel the need to fill in the silences. You'll end up saying something stupid and forced. Sometimes men just want to drive in silence without saying a word. Let them. Maybe he's thinking about how he's going to propose to you one day. Don't ruin his concentration. Obviously, the author's a little bit joking here, but basically, on a date, especially first dates, oh my god, you will experience awkward silences. I guarantee you. I guarantee you. Every second date, I've had awkward silences. And I had to remind myself because this is awkward. This is really like you feel awful when it happens to you. Because usually what happens is the dynamics are off. He's probably not very attracted to you. The conversation isn't flowing. And you're not trying to make a conversation because you are a rules girl. You follow his lead. And if he's not leading you anywhere with his conversation, with his interests, he's not asking you anything, or he's asking you and then he stopped being interested in you. Like he's not talking about himself, like whatever. The conversation isn't flowing. It's awkward. There's silence. Just stop in that moment. Think that maybe he's not the right person. So you trying to fill in the silence in that particular moment is not going to give you anything. absolutely anything. It's dead giveaway of information. And sometimes on it, so the danger in it, if you try to fill in the silences, if you try to be entertaining, because you are an interesting person, you've traveled, whatever, you're educated, you're smart, you keep up with current events, you can talk about anything and everything. Um, when you try to do this, you might eventually prolong a relationship which is already has a dead end in the end. So don't give him a clue to date you in terms of like entertainment. Don't give him a chance to date you because you can give anything to him. The only thing you should be giving to him is your beautiful presence, is your soul in this moment when you share the moment with him. That's all it takes. Look pretty on a date, be nice, but do not entertain him with any stories. Just as a rule say, follow his lead. If he's not leading anywhere, it's probably not the right person for you. Yeah, continue. Don't feel you have to be entertaining or have interesting conversation all the time. He will think you are trying too hard. Just be there. Remember, men fall in love with your essence, not with anything in particular you say. If anything, men should be the ones scrambling their brains to come up with the clever lines, asking you a lot of questions, and wondering whether or not they're keeping you interested. Besides, most men find chatty women annoying. It's true. I find chatty women annoying. Like if it's like my bestie and we're like yep about because we have a lot of like ton of common interests, mutual interests. It's not like that with women that I just know from work or like distant friends. Like I don't want to be chatting too much with these people. Like I have my moments, like my 10 minutes, and then I'm over it. If you're on a date, especially with men are like, they usually don't talk. Like they usually show their manly essence with actions. So anything that you say to him doesn't matter in the beginning. Really, it doesn't matter what you say. He will be attracted to you or not attracted to you, regardless. Absolutely. Men are not attracted to the way you communicate. They don't care. They find you attractive because you are their type, and that's it. So the less you speak on a date, the less you share, the more mysterious you are to him. And it's in the beginning, it's helpful not to put it all out right from the start. We know one man who stopped calling a woman he was physically attracted to because she simply didn't stop talking. Don't be like that. Oh, I imagine that. Imagine like a woman. Imagine we all know such a woman who's like yep, like nonstop, like about everything and anything, like about mundane things. Oh, it's exhausting. It's exhausting. I don't want to be around women like that. As a woman, you probably like to talk, especially about the relationship, but you must hold your tongue. Wait until the date is over, and then you can call 10 girlfriends and analyze the date for hours. On a date itself, be quiet and reserved. He'll wonder what you're thinking, if you like him, and if he's making a good impression. He'll think you're interesting and mysterious, unlike many of the women he has dated. Don't you want him to think about you like that? Yeah. So, some few closing words about a situation like this. If you're on a date and you try not to be oversharing, you try to shut your mouth, you try to follow his lead, whatever the conversation is going. You try to go with the flow. You being nice, pleasant, you look good, whatever. However, most dates will be still awkward because most men are not suitable to you. They are all not the one, and the dates will be awkward. There will be dead silences. The guy will want to talk about weird topics. Sometimes men do the same stuff, like they want to talk about past relationships for whatever reason. They want to ask you questions about your ex-boyfriends. They will sometimes not ask a single question about you. and just talk about themselves all the time. Or vice versa, which is also awkward, he will not talk about himself at all and just like milk information from you, which is also a little bit, it's not awkward, it's suspicious. It's kind of like a pink flag, I would say. Like, why is he not sharing any information about himself? There should be like equal dynamics in the conversation. He asks a question, he shares a little bit about himself. If he asks you, hey, do you have siblings? Feel free to ask him the same thing back. You're just following his lead. It's not like he only asks you questions and you're just answering. It's not an interview. So just be in equal dynamics. However, still, he has to be the one to be the leader. And there will be tons of dates where he's not portraying really a leader. The conversation isn't flowing. It's awkward. You're clearly not attracted to each other. He's not attracted to you. You feel it. You feel ugly. And all of this, just see as good practice. You might have a ton of like dates, and that's absolutely normal. Just be grateful for the time, and hopefully you learn something from this. And really, the rules book is not a magic wand to make you irresistible to every man out there. That's not what the rules are. The rules are a toolbox, a big, beautiful toolbox. And you are supposed to use all of the tools. You're supposed to learn all the tools and use them. For the time when you meet somebody who is actually interested, to not blow it because of the way we act sometimes around men we're attracted to. And yeah, that's pretty much it is. Just practice the rules, and you will eventually get better at this and be more confident, more beautiful, and more gorgeous to the right people who are attracted to you. The rules are really not just for dating. The rules are like some sort of a Bible for life. It's a self-help book. It's a really good one, and I can recommend it to anyone, specifically for women. I hope you like the reading. If you've got any questions, let me know down below in the comment section. I will try eventually to answer all of them. Bye.